Hey guys, welcome back to Believe in Eagles. I am your host, Leigh Mayock, and joining us is my dad, Mike. Hey, Dad.
Hey, Annie, how are you?
Good. It's been a while since we've had Believe in Eagles presented by FanDuel. Eagles free agency. It is, what's today? Tuesday? Yep. We just signed Hollywood Brown.
Yep.
1-year deal. That boosts up our wideout room. We have Dallas Goedert again, right?
Yep.
So 2 weapons. We have Devontae Smith, and then we have a big question mark in A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think the re-signing of Goedert was key for 2 reasons. Not only is he a really good offensive weapon and somebody Jalen Hurts trusts, but there was also going to be some dead salary cap associated with him leaving had they not re-signed him, to the tune of $20 million. So what happens with NFL teams is when you push salary down the road to save money under each year's cap, once a player leaves, gets traded, gets cut, all that money accelerates into that year.
Yeah.
That you have to accrue towards the salary cap. So Goddard would have been $20 million. So now it gives them the ability to be more flexible with A.J. Brown. They want to keep him, not a worry. If they want to trade him, they can now absorb that salary also as far as trading A.J. Brown. So it gives General Manager Howie Roseman, I think, the flexibility he'd really like to have.
Okay, so say we do trade A.J. Brown. The wide receiver room is pretty decent even without him, right? Like, how would you – I mean, obviously, I don't want to lose A.J. Brown. He's a freaking force, but a lot of people say he might be traded. Well, when you look at a room like with Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, and Hollywood Brown, what are you missing? What do you need? Or how do you utilize that?
Goddard is a really good receiving tight end.
Yeah.
But once you lose, I mean, you're looking to have 3 solid wide receivers. Mm-hmm. And right now they have 3, with Hollywood Brown being the 3rd one.
Right.
And he's more of a vertical threat. He's a little bit different, and I like it because he can spread defenses and give those other guys room. But if you trade A.J. Brown, then I don't think the offense, talent-wise, is as potent. Obviously,
well, clearly, yeah. I mean,
but what I'm saying is there's nothing after that at wideout.
Right.
They have nothing. Right. So that would mean that you have to draft a wideout high, mm-hmm. and he'd have to play a lot because it's a bigger loss than people think.
Okay, and what is this draft class in terms of wideouts? Are they a good wideout class, average?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's deep.
Okay.
You can get 2 and 3 rounds deep and really like who you have. So, there's some variety too. There's a couple guys I love that are a little bit more slot than anything, but it doesn't matter. They're really good receivers. So at the end of the day, they'd have to draft someone if they trade AJ.
If they trade AJ, is there anyone in free agency that would make any sense?
Well, I mean, I think that most of that has sailed.
Yeah.
Free agency's 2/3 of the way through at least.
Yeah. And once one domino falls with that, they all do. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to look and see what's still out there at the wideout position, but you can still make a signing or 2, but it's lower level at this point, which is also, that's fine if you get a good solid player.
Are there any teams that come to mind that you think are going to make or have been making a big play for AJ Brown?
Well, I mean, there's been a lot of rumors out there.
I heard Broncos, and they just signed forget.
What's that?
I heard Broncos were looking for
Waddle. They got Waddle.
Yeah, so I guess that's probably off the table.
The Rams were the team that most people were talking about, and they were talking about.
I would hate that. They're already good.
They're really good, but they play in the toughest division in football. Mm-hmm. And if they signed A.J. Brown, they would probably then look to move Devontae because of his salary and acquiring a younger wideout.
Well, Devontae could go back to the Raiders, bring everybody back.
Well, I mean, the Raiders had a really aggressive free agency. I mean,
we'll get to that. I want to stick with the Eagles for a second, but I want to talk about Raiders and Maxx in a second too. In In terms of the Eagles on defense, what is that looking like now after free agency or towards the end of free agency?
I mean, before you go to defense, I think there's one under the radar signing on offense.
Who is that?
You mentioned Hollywood Brown, you mentioned Goddard. The guy that not many Eagle fans know is named Johnny Mundt, and he's a tight end, 9-year veteran from he played for Jacksonville the last few years. He's one of the better blocking tight ends in the NFL. And what I like about it is I think what he does well matches what the new offensive coordinator, Sean Mannion, is going to demand. Outside zone, a lot of perimeter stuff. He's a move guy that is sticky. And I think one of the things the Eagles really missed last year.
What's a move guy that's sticky?
It's a tight end that can go in motion. He can play fullback. He can flex out wide. You can move him all over the place. And sticky means that when he makes contact with a defensive player, he stays attached.
Oh,
he's athletic enough.
Can I tell you what I thought sticky meant? I thought it meant when the ball hit his hands, it stuck.
No, he's not a good receiver. I don't think he's ever had 20 catches in a year. I mean, this is a guy that's going to block people, and I think he fits what the Eagles are going to do.
Okay, I love that. Okay, that makes sense then.
So now, defense.
Yeah. What's it going to look like, and what's the plan?
Well, I think here's the deal. You have to look at what they've lost the last 2 years, not just this year, because it's been since the Super Bowl. I mean, they lost Milt Williams last year, Josh Sweat last year, Darius Slay last year, 3 Pro Bowlers last year, right? This year they lose Jalen Phillips, who they gave up a 3rd-round pick for. They lost Nakobe Dean. And I think the loss of Reed Blankenship is bigger than a lot of people think, because he kind of ran the defense. He ran the defense for Vic. And they lost Ojulari and Uche, but who are more complementary backup edge guys. So over 2 years, they've lost most of their starting defense. I mean, so there's some pressure to replace a lot of this. Obviously love Riq Woolen from Seattle, and he can play full-time corner. He's 6'4", and that allows the nickel to continue playing nickel, Cooper DeJean, and not have to kick in and out all the time. And he should be one of the top 2 or 3 nickels in the league by far. So I like that move a lot. Outside of that on defense, I mean, what do they have? They also, the other guy they signed was Ebiketie, who's a defensive end from Atlanta. And he's a guy, he's very productive. He's not a frontline starter that's going to play 70 snaps a game. He's going to play pass downs. He's tough. He's pretty big and powerful, and he'll create quarterback pressures. And I like him, but he's not the full answer yet.
Okay. So if you're the Eagles right now, you're going to draft. I'm giving you 2 scenarios, and I wanted to know what you would do. Going into draft, what are your needs and priorities if we do trade A.J. Brown?
Well, right now they have 9 overall picks. And to Howie's credit, that includes 4 compensatory picks.
Yeah.
Which means they have 2 in the 3rd, 2 in the 4th, and 2 in the 5th. Okay, which is really good. That's before. Now, if they made a trade for A.J. Brown, they'd have more.
Get some picks, yeah.
They'd have more. I mean, and if you look at what Denver gave up to get Waddle from Miami.
They gave up a crap ton.
Well, they gave up a 1, 3, and a 4, but they got a 4 back. So it's the 4s negate. Basically, they gave up a 1 and a 3 to get Jalen Waddle, who I think is 26. This year
one doesn't that kind of weigh heavier?
Yeah, I mean, and if you're going to move him, you want to move him before the draft, I would assume, because you want to get this year's draft picks.
Yeah.
So Howie supposedly, or what everybody says is Howie wants a 1, and what that tells you is that there's a 1 and a 3 for a quality young wideout. Now, AJ's older than Waddle, but still he's only whatever he is, 28 or 9. And then also from a salary perspective, Denver ate the whole thing. And if Howie wanted somebody to take over that whole salary, a 1 and a 3 is a fair comp. So the Eagles are going to be looking for something pretty strong in return if they make that move. Again, if they do make the move, I would expect them to use one of their earlier draft picks on a wideout.
Okay. And then what do you think we'll be targeting on the defensive side based off of like the depth and the talent in draft?
I think the two biggest needs they have fit the two biggest answers in the draft.
Oh, that's helpful.
They need edge players,
mm-hmm.
and they need safeties.
Okay.
And I get nervous because their starting safeties right now are Makuba, who had a good rookie year, but he got hurt, and that was everybody's worry when he came out because he's a smaller, slighter framed guy.
Yeah.
And Brown is the other safety, and he's more of a special team guy. So you lose Blankenship. They need at least one. I'd rather, to be honest with you, I'd like to see a veteran safety from somewhere. Somebody knows what he's doing.
Especially since you said Reed was kind of running the offense. You need
someone he ran the defense. He ran the defense. Yeah. So, and the other thing is, I think last year's draft, like Ty Robinson might take a step up this year. He got some play, especially towards the end of last season. Mac McWilliams is kind of a corner nickel. He'll be interesting to watch in training camp. And they drafted 3 offensive linemen a year ago on the second day of the draft. And I'm not sure they're going to make a difference this year, but with Lane Johnson getting old, Landon Dickerson being beat up, all of a sudden those 3 young guys become important depth for the Eagles on the offensive line.
How do you even begin to exist without Jeff Stoutland?
I'm a stout. Yeah, I'm a stout guy. I'm a Jeff Stoutland guy, and I always have been. And I thought he was rare and really special. It's kind of a new era now with Sean Mannion coming in because the offense, in my opinion, is going to look different. It's going to be Mannion's 30 years old, Leigh. And he played 9 years in the NFL. He's only been a coach. This is his 3rd year as a coach.
What position did he play?
He's a quarterback. I mean, I did his tape coming out of Oregon State in 2015 or 16 or whenever it was. So this is a young dude. He's never been an OC before, except in the East-West All-Star game this year.
Is he calling plays?
Yeah. And their new offensive line coach, because you brought up Stout, is a guy named Chris Cooper, who kind of fits what they want to do because he was in Minnesota the last 3 or 4 years, and they're doing a lot of what Kevin O'Connell does. But kind of the school that he comes from, Mannion, is the Sean McVay school. Yeah. Which is McVay and Kevin O'Connell and
very trendy.
Kubiak and LaFleur. Like his last 2 years as a coach were with LaFleur and Green Bay. Yeah. So I think you're going to see a different kind of offense. You're going to see a different style of offensive line play with Chris Cooper. And it's going to be really intriguing for Eagles fans to watch. And I hope they give it a little time, but to watch this offense develop.
I don't know if we're going to give it a little time. We'll see. What is that in your mind, this like new, younger offensive scheme minded situation? What does that look like for Saquon?
I think it's good for Saquon because all these teams really run the ball well. I mean, look at Green Bay the last couple of years, Josh Jacobs, right? Look at McCaffrey in San Francisco with Shanahan. What it is heavy play action, which means you got to be able to run the ball well if you're going to play action. So it's a lot of play action. Jalen will be under center more. He'll be running more bootlegs, semi-sprint outs, move the pocket. I think people who are critical of it are going to say, where are the RPOs? Well, they'll have RPOs in there. And I think they're all intelligent enough to know that Jalen Hurts should be able to use his legs to help win games. But it's a different offensive scheme. You're going to see condensed formations with crossing routes. And like I said last year, like where are all the rubs and the picks and all the rub routes across the middle where they're called mesh routes. And I think you're going to see a lot of that kind of stuff, which I favor with pre-snap motions and
all the other teams are doing successfully.
Yeah, I mean, look at Green Bay, look at the Rams especially. Obviously, Jalen Hurts is not Matthew Stafford. They're completely different style quarterbacks.
Mhm.
And I think that's going to be the challenge for Mannion, is kind of taking what Jalen does best and trying to match it up or marry it to the offense that he wants to run.
Honestly, to me, that sounds exciting. Like, obviously, the offense last year was lacking a lot of things, and this sounds refreshing and exciting and like something to look forward to. You know?
Yeah, until it doesn't. but I kind of agree with you, because I had trouble watching that tape last year. I really did.
Yeah.
And whether your podcast or people in Philly, I was just like, I just wish they would do some stuff to help their wideouts get open, and motions and rubs and meshes and all kinds of different stuff that makes it hard for linebackers and defensive backs. And I think you're going to see that with Mannion. And now the most intriguing piece of that is, how does Jalen respond, and does that help accelerate or improve his game, which is what every player at every position should hope for, is an opportunity to get better.
Yeah, I think it's exciting. I'm gonna
stay with that.
I think I'm gonna be optimistic.
Okay.
Okay, so the major freaking storyline of free agency somehow has been the Maxx Crosby pump fake trade to the Ravens back to the Raiders. Obviously you've been with Maxx since the draft. You drafted him to the Raiders to begin with. And here's the thing. I know that we've talked about this before, and all you've said is, for Maxx himself, you just want him to be on a team where he can win championships.
I just want him to play in really important games. He needs that, and he deserves that.
So how do you think this all went down? And do you think he's in a good position again now?
I can't tell you how it went down. And unless you're Steve Bisciotti, the owner, or Eric DaCosta, or the new head coach, Minter, unless you're one of those guys in that building, you really don't know what happened.
Right.
As you know, every player for every trade, regardless of what time of year, it's always contingent upon a physical.
Yeah.
And Baltimore knew they were trading for a guy that was just coming off surgery with his knee. So they had to kind of look at it big picture. They couldn't just say, okay, fine, he's ready to play tomorrow, because he's not. He just came, he was on crutches a few weeks ago.
But everyone knew that.
Yeah, but it's the job of the doctors to say it's going to be a good knee again and he'll be fine, or it isn't. I mean, that's their doctors.
Right.
And so I can't tell you what the doctor said. I don't know what Baltimore did or didn't do. Mm-hmm. I'd like to believe that, and I know DaCosta and I trust DaCosta. I'd like to believe that it's 100% on the up and up. But the flip side of that is, it hurts a guy that I care a lot about. Mm-hmm. He was fired up and ready to go to a winning franchise. Now, to his credit, and typical Maxx, he goes back to Vegas and he's in the building the next day at 5 a.m.
I mean, we could have put FanDuel money on that would have been the case. Like, that's who he is.
Yeah, that's who he is.
And both himself and the Raiders are like lucky that he is that way, I feel.
Yeah, he said, I'm back. Mm-hmm. And if he's back, he's an all-in person. Mm-hmm. And no matter what he does in life, it's all in.
Yeah.
And I just hope, again, like the Raiders have done I think a lot of really good things in free agency.
So that's what I was going to bring up. Like, I couldn't get over how much they did and the moves they made during free agency after they traded Maxx. And then I'm like, I was in my mind, I was like, shoot, if I were Maxx, I'd be kind of annoyed that they could do all these things after I'm gone. And then look like you got a squad coming together. And then all of a sudden he's back with all these other weapons around him. Like, that's kind of, I mean, kismet.
It's, I don't know about kismet. If I was to count, I mean, it's a hard place for Maxx to be, because publicly they flunked him. People are, all kinds of stuff's going around. Max is saying, I'm just going full steam ahead. But what happens if they trade him in a month before the draft?
I would be so annoyed.
Yeah, but that's the point is Max, in my mind, has got to be ready for anything, because anything could happen. And just, hey, do it. And he is. Just do what you do. Go work out, get that knee ready, get yourself ready. And no matter what happens is going to happen at the end of the day. So you got to be prepared for it. Now, if you want to tell me the Raiders are going to compete this year, I'm not going to believe it, regardless of and I do believe they really did well. I like what Spytech did, and but you've got a rookie quarterback that you've got to develop,
allegedly,
and well, I mean, that's who they're going to take, and they're going to. So you got to develop this kid and build around him. I thought they did a heck of a job again in free agency. But if you're Max, in your heart of hearts, you're probably going, here I go again, another rebuild. It's going to be a rookie quarterback. What are we going to now? New England turned it around with a quarterback in a couple of years.
Yeah.
That's the exception more than the rule, but that's what, if Max stays there, that's what he's got to hope for, and he will. He'll buy 100% into it, and he'll be the leader again. But I just don't want him to get crushed again. I hope he's ready for anything.
Do you think he would have had a better shot at a championship, so to speak, with the Ravens this year than the Raiders this year?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, Lamar Jackson's the quarterback, and is their talent level the same as it has been? It might not be, but I don't know. I haven't even looked at it. And they got a draft coming up, and all I know is the Ravens have been one of the best franchises in the league for years, and every year they're going to compete. And I fully expect for them to compete again this year.
Okay, well, I think Max is going to be a Raider, and I think they are going to compete. I really feel like they're going to be good. Your silence says 1,000 words.
No, I mean, I know you still communicate a lot with Raider people, and that's cool. And I know you're rooting for that. And me, I'm just a pragmatist. And at the end of the day, I think it's going to take more than 1 year to build around a rookie quarterback.
I know. Again, sometimes I'm too optimistic. But I have an overriding question on this. This can't be the first time that one team's medical failed somebody who.
Correct.
Who did great on another team's medical. Isn't that a problem in general?
In the NFL, all 32 teams, like at the combine, get the exact same information medically.
Yeah.
And the two things that are crazy, not crazy, but it's human nature, is that 32 teams get the same medical, and there are 32 different opinions on all these kids.
Yeah.
I could tell you. No, wait. I could tell you point blank that there were a couple of guys that we really wanted to draft that our doctors wouldn't allow us to draft, that other teams thought it was fine. Okay. Like I remember Tyler Smith, the guard from Kansas City. He had a heart problem, and we took him off our board, and we had a first or second round, like a late 1, early 2 on him. And he was still there in the 5th round, and Gruden was going crazy, and I don't blame him because he wanted him badly. I wanted him badly, and Kansas City took him. Wait a minute.
Sorry.
Kansas City took him in the 6th round, and he's an All-Pro player, and that's not uncommon. I mean, Landon Dickerson from the Eagles. We had some problems with his knees, I think, and the Eagles took him in the 2nd round, and he's doing fine. So. At the end of the day, there's 32 different medical opinions, and there's 32 differing opinions on players with character issues. Those are the two kind of things that are all over the place for all 32 teams.
But with character issues, you can't really measure those. At least with medical things, they're measurable.
No, because you're interpreting X-rays. You're trying to guess how long a player's knee or arm or shoulder or whatever is going to last that's been surgically repaired. So there's a bunch of gray area in medical reports.
Yeah. I just don't think it's fair.
Players have walked away from deals in free agency that they agreed to, and teams have walked away from players. It doesn't happen very often, but until that league season officially commences at 4 p.m. that day, last week, anything can happen.
Okay, you know what would be sick?
What?
Maxx to the Eagles. I would take that one. They need people there. It's a position of need.
Yes,
Wouldn't that be crazy?
It would be.
I would be obsessed with that. Ugh. And then we'll get him on as a guest on here. So I was looking at, when I was like thinking about where AJ Brown might go, I was looking up, I was just curious. So there's all these different teams. So I was looking up FanDuel's projections right now for next year's Super Bowl winner. Because I was like, I want him to do well personally, but I don't want him to go anywhere that would be better than the Eagles, because that would be difficult for the Eagles to win. And can you take a guess at who they have winning the Super Bowl right now?
This is with AJ Brown on the Eagles, right?
Yeah, with it. Yeah, like just as of today, right now.
As of today,
are the things.
I would say it would be an NFC West team, and it would be Rams or Seattle.
Yeah, you got it. FanDuel's Super Bowl winners for next year are Rams at plus 700 and Seahawks at plus 950. Buffalo Bills plus 1,000, Ravens plus 1,100, Chargers plus 1,500, and Niners plus 1,600.
There you go.
Chargers.
How about the Ravens? You just asked about the Ravens, and there they are. They're
I know. I was asking your opinion. I wasn't disagreeing with you. They're always up there. But then I also think a lot of times they're given the benefit of the doubt a lot, and then they kind of crap out early. Well,
Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl, and they're in AFC championship games and divisional winners all the time. It's hard to knock the Baltimore Ravens, because when you're talking about the last 15 years, it's Kansas City and Philly and Baltimore. Pittsburgh lost there after Roethlisberger, but San Francisco. Those are the teams.
San Francisco,
LA, Rams.
Do you know that next year's Super Bowl is on Valentine's Day?
Did not know that.
Is that adorable?
I guess it could be.
I think they should probably make things like pink merch and cute things. Maybe care more about the women in sports that day. Wait, speaking of that, I have a question. Serious question for you.
Maybe Pink Bunny can do halftime.
Are you trying to say Bad Bunny?
I made a joke because of Valentine's Day. Thought you would appreciate it.
I did. That was good. But I didn't know. I thought you really might have thought his name was Pink Bunny.
No, I had it.
Okay, here's the thing. You know the show The Bachelorette and The Bachelor? You've heard of it. Okay. You know the premise. You get a rose, you pick whatever. There's been all this drama today because the Bachelorette is probably getting back with her toxic ex, and it's halting filming. She's on another reality show. It's all this drama, right? So I was thinking to myself, would you support me being the Bachelorette? At this point, I don't have that many other options. Just in general, it's and it's not a bad show. It's not a sleazy show. It's just, would you support me? And I don't mean support me. I mean, would you support me? Not just not disown me. I mean, support.
I would support a really good guy.
But if I found him via The Bachelorette, you'd be down?
The odds of that, I think, are awful, because it's just a bunch of people looking for attention on both sides, male and female. No offense. No. I think the odds of finding somebody real and down to earth and a good match for you are a lot better in other places, but it's not my decision.
Okay, so but you wouldn't disown me. Would you watch the show?
You're my daughter.
There's this thing that once you get to the finals, they have to do a hometown visit. Could I bring them home to meet you?
Leigh, this just really, I don't even get why we're doing this. Show's called Believe in Eagles.
I would bring them to Philadelphia to meet you for the hometown visit. Okay, fine. Forget
let's
it.
not do this.
We'll talk about this another time because now you're annoying me. What?
Ditto.
It popped in my head because of Valentine's Day. Okay, well, that was fun. Okay, well, I hope you guys missed us. We're back.
Find a good, solid dude. Doesn't have to be flashy. Doesn't have to be any of that.
Okay. All right. Well,
that's all.
Thank you guys for being here. This was Believe in Eagles presented by FanDuel, and we will talk to you again soon. Thanks, Dad.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.